jump right into it. That's the storyline that everyone wants to understandably know more about. So here's a look at the current state of things across the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico. As I mentioned at the start of the newscast, at least closest to us, there's two areas to watch. One that's right about here, and the other one that's to the west and southwest of that over the Caribbean. Now, right this very moment, we don't have any organized storm systems there, but it does look increasingly likely, even as compared to just 24 hours ago, that at least something is going to try to spin up there. Right now, as you can see, the area of lowest pressure is way over here in the western Caribbean off the coast of Nicaragua and to the north of Costa Rica. But it looks like here with the latest thinking of the American GFS forecast model that if we do get an organized storm system to spin up as early as this weekend, through Sunday, it would very likely stay to the south of Cuba. But it's important, of course, to not only have in mind what the global forecast models are thinking, but what the steering currents are likely to be as well. And that's why we have to watch this feature closely, as there are indications that if we do get an organized storm system to spin up within the next week in the Caribbean, it may be encouraged to move more toward the northwest. And of course, from where it would likely form, that would have it toward the Gulf of Mexico. So this is a look at what one forecast model is thinking on, like the probability of tropical storm force weather conditions. And right now, that's upwards of 40% based on one model here between the western side of Cuba and the eastern side of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. It is still too early to tell not only if something will form, but where it will go. But when you see indications and signals like this, it is a good reminder to make sure that you're paying attention to the weather, as it looks like if something's going to get going here, we may have to be tracking it as we move throughout the forecast next week in the days following Election Day. Right this moment, nothing concerning for us to talk about when it comes to the weather, though. As you look live from the top of the Edison Grand Building in downtown Fort Myers, it's pretty nice there as a bee flies by. We may see a few widely isolated showers develop over the next 4 or 5 hours, but we don't expect them to be anything major in the way of impactful rain as they pop up across our community. Winds aren't quite as strong as they were earlier this week, but through 6 o'clock tonight, we will have an east-northeast wind connection. So any showers that do form here between 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock tonight would more than likely move in the general direction of the Gulf of Mexico. After 9, 10 o'clock tonight, the coverage of rain, should we see any develop, will start to fade away, and temperatures will drop back into the middle 70s. So a little bit mild here over the course. Went by too fast. Let me see if I can put this in reverse. Hang on 1 second. We'll take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. There we go. Here's a look at the Futurecast outlook for you on Saturday. And the take-home point for Saturday's forecast is it does look like we'll have a little wider coverage of scattered showers on the breeze. Remember, the winds tomorrow are from the east and moving toward the west. So throughout the afternoon here, there's your best chance for scattered showers, primarily during the late afternoon and right through the early evening. So a little better chance of being hit by a shower or two tomorrow as compared to the forecast for the rest of the night tonight. The other point to mention in the 7-day forecast, as we possibly watch the influences of that feature in the tropics toward the end of the 7-day forecast, to be the temperatures, as we're actually going to be closer to 90 as compared to the average high for early November as we move past Election Day. So going to be a warm one, big picture in the 7-day forecast, and to be determined how much rain we end up if that tropical feature in the Caribbean is in fact able to track into the Gulf of Mexico. So a number of things for us to keep pace on with over the course of the next week.